Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to ShootOut. From myself, of course, a massive Happy New Year to each and every one of you, and a Happy New Year to Big Eunice. Happy New Year, mate. I don't know how many Happy New Years that was in the first 15 seconds, but I think we get the drift, mate. How are you?
Happy New Year, Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to you. I'm good, Happy New Year. Yeah, absolutely. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
We just won't
Cheers
stop.
to that with a mug of
We just
coffee.
won't stop. Absolutely, me too. We've got coffee at hand and we're ready to go for 2024. I'm good. It's been a good one so far, and I hope it's been a good one for you. I hope it's been a good one for everyone watching as well, as we get cracking into what we reckon is going to be a good year.
I hope so, bro. And I think, as Chelsea fans, we're going to start the shootout video, the first one on the channel for 2024, is going to be a predominantly Chelsea-heavy video. But, Chelsea-heavy is kind of it's been a bit of a heavy burden to us recently, but we've now won 2 matches in a row, mate. And as much as it wasn't, the most beautiful win at Luton, it is still 3 points. And, when I'm building up to these games, which... For the predictions, I didn't get the score right, but I did get the result right of this one. I said Chelsea would win by a goal, so I will take my wins wherever I can. We knew it wasn't going to be beautiful. I think it's going to be a long time until it is beautiful when it comes to Chelsea. But, talk me through your emotions at the end there. Because, for me, that was the verge. We were on the verge of a total capitulation. Yeah. Beyond my wildest mental proportion. How were you feeling in those last 10?
Only Chelsea Football Club, right, can convince me, even at a time like this, that we've got the job done, it's over, finally, we've put a game to bed, only for us to be on the brink to throw it away. Only Chelsea can do that to me. Right? After all the results that we've had, and I've been fairly, you could argue, much more pessimistic than I would normally be in normal circumstances because of things like this. And even I'm like, nah, we've got this. It's done. It's 3-0. Happy days. Finally. What a great end to 2023. Boom. Heart attacks all across the flipping spectrum, and we nearly throw it away. It was. I still don't have the vocabulary to describe it. Do you know what I mean? Because it was a moment away.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It was we're 3-0 up, cruising a Premier League game, but we feel so uncomfortable with being that far ahead that we have to somehow bring it back to 2023 Chelsea and just not feel comfortable in our own bodies and with our abilities again. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, we've literally just been we're doing good, so therefore by default we have to just screw it up, self-sabotage. That's how it felt watching that last 10.
Yeah, it's everyone's going, no lads, this is too good. What's going on? No, we've got to throw it away. All right, let's throw it away, lads. Let's throw it away. But look, it was very, very, very close. I'm glad we got the win. And it sets us up nicely going forward because of the schedule that we have. And I'll explain that in a little bit. But going into those last minutes, those last 15, as soon as we let in the first goal, we just kind of knew where things were heading, didn't we? And then,
bro, how good is Ross Barkley, by the way?
Bro, I said, look, when the game kicked off, right, I was watching, I was like, he's looking good. And then he started to look even more good. And I'm like, oh, this is it. We're getting pre-season Barkley, Zidane, showing up for this game. And he did. And he was absolutely phenomenal. He absolutely bossed the middle of the park. So
yeah, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, this is everything I've wanted Enzo Fernandez to be. I don't know, whether communication went wrong or, whose price tag was, tag in the back of the shirt. I don't know. But, we move. Anyway, Ross Barkley was good. Chelsea were good. And let's talk about the run of fixtures that we've got now, because we're going to talk about Arsenal in a moment in this video. It's been such a busy period. We've kind of separated. We're going to talk about Liverpool, Newcastle in a later video. So stay tuned to ShootOut for that video. But Chelsea's fixtures, right? I said it in my podcast before Christmas. I was like, there is a world here where we could go on a bit of a run. And then as a result of going on a bit of a run, you start to get a bit of belief. But the next 4 matches, We've got 2 games against Middlesbrough, 1 against Preston and 1 against Fulham. So that's 3 championship teams and Fulham at home. Is there a world where we win our next 4 games, Eunice, and we're sat here with like this ridiculous positivity going into Liverpool away on the 31st of January? Like, could this change our whole season?
On a mental standpoint, this is what I wanted to allude to. Yes, there is, because this is where Chelsea have a big opportunity to gain a good amount of confidence. And for the first time this season, which we've not had yet, is to go on a run where we've maybe won 7 out of 8 games. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's massive.
We beat Sheffield United. Then we beat Newcastle on penalties in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. Then we lost to Wolves. But then we beat Palace. And then we beat Luton. So that's already 4 out of the last 5, right? Even though, I'll be honest, look, performances haven't looked good at all. But that's 4 out of 5 wins. You start to build up some rhythm. We got Preston next. That could be 5. Middlesbrough, that could be 6. And then Fulham, that will be a bit of a test, but that's at home. If we win that and then we beat Middlesbrough at home as well, mate, that could be 8 games. 8 out of 9 wins. You know, 8 wins out of 9. That is perfect going into the Liverpool game to build up some momentum and to get at least these lads thinking in a winnable way. So there is a chance here. There is a chance, and Chelsea have to take it. If we don't take this, then we're not taking it forward for the rest of the season. As simple as that. Because we're going into February, we have to play Liverpool. We've got to play City, Tottenham, and then you look into March and you start playing Newcastle and Arsenal and Man United, and it gets all crazy. So we have to take advantage of these games coming up. And it's a big chance to get some confidence, 100%.
Yeah, I love how when you're saying all of these things, in my head, I'm pensively getting really excited. I'm like, yeah, we actually should win that one and that one and that one.
Yeah,
Before
we should.
You know it, Chelsea are flipping back and we're going to win the flipping league next year. It's just like, can we get to the end of the season so we can start the next one?
I'm not doing that. Not this time. No, we're not doing this. I'm not falling into that trap again. We need to see. Yeah, we need to see proper, decent results come in, but at the same time, realise that we're playing Preston and Middlesbrough here. Do you know what I mean? And then if we take that into the Fulham game,
100%.
And then we start playing the big teams and it starts looking better, then okay, it means something.
Yeah, I think Cole Palmer, mate, I'm sorry, but he is...
Class.
Jamie Carragher's put him in his team of the season. This kid is absolutely unbelievable, bro. Like, honestly, without him, I look at this Chelsea team and I'm like, I don't see any quality. I say any quality, that's an exaggeration. There are good players in there. But, like, he is... in my opinion, levels above. I think he could end up being as important. I don't want to say this is going to sound ridiculous.
Don't say it.
Like,
I know what you're going to say. I know where you're going.
Okay, I'll be fully honest and I'll nod my head on the camera. Say what you thought I was going to say, and I will nod or shake my head if you were correct.
Were you going to say?
What do you think I was going to say?
Were you going to say Eden Hazard?
Oh, for goodness sake. Like, I don't mean like the same kind of player. I mean just like the importance. Do you know what I mean?
Knew it.
Like,
I bloody knew it.
I knew that you were going to say that. I knew that you were going to know that as well. That is why we have a channel together, ladies and gentlemen. He is brilliant. Like, he just has all the ability. He's young. He's fiery. He's got the flair. He's got the skills. He's got the confidence. He's got the arrogance. And he's just... like, I'll tell you one thing I don't like before we move on to Arsenal. How are they overplaying this cold Palmer thing? It's like, it's becoming a bit cringe. Like, once is enough. One Instagram caption is enough. But, like, they're flipping giving it a whole narrative. They're giving it like a Harry Potter books level of storytelling behind it because the boys called him Cold Palmer in the dressing room. Like, relax about it. Do you know what I mean? They're overdoing it. But he is cold. I'll give him that.
He is. Fair play. He is Cold Palmer, right? But... well, this is the thing. It's all we got going for us right now, mate. You know, I think they got to milk it.
I guess, yeah.
They've got nothing else.
I guess so. I mean, it's getting to a point where we could start to milk the London is blue line again because the white part, the Tottenham part, is like until they have any trophy, like we can't categorise the capital city of England as like white because of Spurs.
Yeah.
Red because of Arsenal was something that people were starting to be like, all right, maybe London is red. You guys are consistently doing well. All of a sudden, the wheels are falling off for Arsenal. And like, I don't know if this is, when you look at the Premier League table units, I see a very competitive title race. I see probably the most engaging, exciting title race for a very, very long time.
Yep.
Have Arsenal, as a result of that Fulham loss, have they actually taken themselves out of it because the form is just becoming so alarmingly bad? Or have they just not really been that great the whole time? Like, I'm confused about how I feel about Arsenal right now.
Yeah.
Because like, I think we've said together that they've not been that great this season. They've not been like blowing teams away. They've been playing better football last season. I think they've been trying to incorporate too many players in there who maybe don't deserve to be like focal points of the team. And I think now they're unstuck. And I think that it's going to actually continue to go downhill. Like they were beaten by Fulham 2-1. Thoughts?
Yeah, and if to answer the question, obviously, mathematically, they're in the title race. But
For sure.
as far as I'm concerned, they're not in the title race. Do you know what I mean?
That's how I feel too.
Yeah, I don't see, and I think from the beginning of the season, you could argue that they weren't going to be a team that was going to push all the way. Even, look, right now, and people have a right to say it, because like I said, mathematically it's still possible, they might still be in a position where they end up top of the table for a week or so, or they get up to second or something like that. And then people will say, no, they can win the Premier League, but they won't win the Premier League. They won't.
Yeah.
Because Man City are levels above. Liverpool, as far as I'm concerned, are levels above. And Arsenal haven't set themselves up. Like I've said on the last video I spoke about Arsenal, I believe the consequences of what they've done in past seasons, and also Mikel Arteta, as good as how much he has developed, and I'm not saying he's rubbish, he's not rubbish. He will not win the title for Arsenal. He'll get top four. He'll go on a cup run or something, absolutely. But I feel like that's as far as he can take Arsenal, and that's as far as Arsenal can go. And if Arsenal fans are going to be content with that, then cool. Keep Mikel Arteta and keep what you're doing. The business that Arsenal have done, I feel like, has improved relative to past seasons where they were, they were going on that trust the process sort of method, and they were looking at just getting young players here and young players there and all of that. And past two windows, they have started to bring in, you could argue, top quality. And that's how Arsenal should be operating. But I feel like they're still picking up the consequences because of all of that, and Arteta's not going to take them to where they need to go if they really do want to win the Premier League title. So you could argue maybe the boat has sailed, maybe that there isn't anyone out there that they can get to compete with a Pep right now or something. I argued that maybe they had the chance to get Ancelotti when he was available, especially or after the Everton saga, but I don't see Arsenal winning the league. It's as simple as that. I just don't think so.
Do you know what I see? I see the same problems as Chelsea, but in a different scale of progress. Like, I think both Arsenal and Chelsea need the same player. They need a 25-goal, drag you out of nothing because you're a great striker player to score enough goals. But because the rest of the team, they've got a good defence, they've got a great midfield, whereas Chelsea don't really have any of those things yet. That's why we're 10th, and that's why Arsenal are slowly falling out of a title challenge. But actually, the crux of the issue is the same flipping thing. Arsenal need the same player that Chelsea need. And I think the reason why, I think Osimhen is the player that both teams need. I would argue maybe Tony might fit Arsenal a bit more, but I would say the reason I think you're right when you say the boat might have sailed for Arsenal is because I don't think that club, I think Arsenal are happy right now to be in a title race for half a season, not win it for 3 or 4 more years, but keep staying close. So I don't think they'll have the seriousness about them to go and break the bank for an elite striker. Whereas I think Chelsea, no matter what we think about the way that we've conducted business or do we buy the right players or not, I do think there is a mutual understanding now between the manager, the squad, the board, where we will actually break the bank for a top striker. And I think that'll be the difference. I think Arsenal won't do it.
Do you reckon? Because Arsenal have to do that, and I reckon that Ivan Toney should be nailed on. I don't think anyone else is really going to go on for Ivan Toney, and Arsenal are in prime position to get him if they want him, and they
But
do
will
need
Arsenal
him.
spend 100 mil? That's what Brentford are asking for. Like, will Arsenal in January, which is like now, like you say, mathematically they're in a title race.
Yeah.
Form-wise, they're out of it. They've won 1 of their last 4. They're not playing well. They are only 5 points off of Liverpool. Do you think Arsenal are going to, when I say break the bank, I mean overpay? Like, Ivan Toney is a quality player, but he hasn't played football in 6 months. So will Arsenal spend 80 to 100 million, which is what Brentford want to sell him in January? And they need to sell him for that much too, because at the moment they're 16th, they've lost 5 in a row. So they're kind of like, their hopes of survival almost at this point relies on Ivan Toney based on how they're going down. So they're not going to sell him for 50 million, 40 million, which is what Arsenal might think they can get him for. They're going to want 80, 100, something ridiculous. So I don't know if Toney is going to, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to help them now, but I don't think Arsenal will gamble on that price. I don't.
Look, at the end of the day, if you want those sort of players, you need to pay the money. That's the reality of the game at the moment, and that's how it is. You're not going to get those sort of players in a bargain unless you're lucky. That 1 in a million, right? At the same time, you're right in saying I don't think Toney will come in and have an immediate impact because he needs to, brush up and get back up to speed himself. He's not been playing, right? And I'm sure he's been staying fit and all of that 100%. And I'm sure he's raring to go.
You could
and
say
he's
it's
probably,
a gamble.
Yeah. And I don't think an injury will be a cause for concern. I don't feel like that's going to happen because he's had enough time to be able to get himself fit properly. But I think that it's going to take time for him to brush off the rust, and maybe going into next season he will be at his peak and his prime again. But it's better than what Arsenal have right now. And this is where you argue if he comes in, I think he'd have at least, maybe not the impact people are hoping for immediately, but he'd have something. Do you know what I mean? Because it is still Ivan Toney and he is still the top striker and it's better than what Arsenal have up top right now. But I also stress this. I don't feel like Ivan Toney himself is going to be the ultimate solution for all of Arsenal's problems. I will continuously stick with the point that I believe Arsenal do need a striker and that will help them and that should elevate them a bit. But I do feel like they still need a top manager to walk into that team in order to take them to the promised land, man. And I believe Arsenal can compete for trophies if they do just get that last elite manager that they need. If they do, then I feel like they can. But I feel like Arteta has taken them to where he can.
I think that is a very definitive point to leave this video here before the next video where we do talk about a football club with an elite manager who are currently sat very pretty at the top of the Premier League table, 3 points clear. We're going to talk about Liverpool versus Newcastle, an absolute classic, 6-goal thriller. That is the next video on the channel. Subscribe to ShootOut. If you're new and haven't already, hit the like button. If you enjoy what you see and you're excited for the content in 2024, any final words from you, Eunice, before we see these lot in a couple of hours?
Chelsea are going to the title charge.
We're definitely going to win 2 of the next 3 Premier Leagues. I know that much, but I reckon we're going for it. Yeah, I agree.
Cheers.